Ralph met many national cartoonists and found he was getting closer to his dream of being one of them. In the early 1980s, Ralph began developing a strip to present to Dick's syndicate, King Features.
He was called Average Man because I had this brilliant idea. I thought, what a great play on words. He'll represent the average man. And so it's funny, the syndicate liked everything about it, but they didn't like the title. I was getting these vibrations. They weren't going to buy it because they thought Average Man just had it sounded average to them, and they wanted something. So my editor called me and he says, I was riding the train from Connecticut to New York, and he says, we got to come up with a decision. And I've been thinking about all these names, and I thought of Captain this, Captain that, and I thought, well, this guy's not invincible. He's Vincible. So he's Captain Vincible. What do you think? I said, that's the best thing I ever heard in my life, Bill. Let's run it up the flagpole. So, in fact, the first strips had already been printed with the A on the chest. And when the proof sheets came into the Herald Tribune, I had to very carefully, very tiny, put a V over where the A had been.
Captain Vincible grew and was soon in hundreds of papers around the world. Returning to Sarasota and the Newtown community where he grew up, he discovered his idyllic world was undergoing significant change. Integration was bringing unforeseen challenges to the community. Henry knew he had to do something, but what? Then he realized God had given him musical gifts. He would use them to touch lives.
And I found out a song could lift them and make them feel like they could do something again.
On July 20th, 1969, the Community Gospel Choir of Sarasota made its debut. From that core group would become the West Coast Gospel Chorus of Florida.
That was the only thing I was going to do because I was never returning to Sarasota.
When Bob was about to enter high school, the family moved once again, this time to a beautiful tropical island. However, all was not paradise, as a revolution had recently ended and a young Fidel Castro was now the leader of this island nation of Cuba. Bob's father was president of the Cuban Electric Company. He found himself frequently at odds with the new leaders, particularly the Minister of Economics, Che Guevara.
There would be riots, and they'd burn my father in effigy, and we'd be sitting home watching this on television. Then finally we had to leave very, very suddenly. We left virtually overnight with everything we could get out, and turned into Cuban refugees.
I go into the theater very, very early. I like to be in the theater a couple of hours before the performance, before anyone else is there, set everything out. I would set my towel, my makeup, just so, the hairpins, and I had a whole rigmarole that I went through, from the hot shower, getting into my tights with a warm gown on, then doing my hair, the makeup. Then I would go and take one of the studios upstairs, turn the lights off, and I would do like a meditation and a floor bar on the floor, very slow exercises on the floor, and then I would be ready to join the company for the warm-up before they went into performance. The Allenby is my stage name. I was born Jean Theobald. My father was British. My grandfather was British. My grandmother was South African.